44 liters per day, and we have an average of 20 liters.
Today we are privileged to visit Kiambu County, and we are in this farm with the dairy farm manager. So please kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. My name is Zipporah Nyambura Giadhi from a farm called Fertility Estate.
So tell us more about this farm.
Fertility Estate is a farm that does both tea and dairy, but today we are focusing on the part of dairy. As you can see, we do Holstein Friesian, a breed of cow that was started to be bred in this country way back in the year 1950s by the white settlers who had settled in our highlands, and that is where we started the breeding of Holstein Friesian.
What really motivated you guys to come up with this dairy farm?
Number one is for passion, because we love cows. Number two is for breeding, because we saw there is a gap that needs to be filled in our country, whereby most of the farmers that were in our country, they didn't have pure breeds. And we started breeding these cows and working closely with the government to supply with them with the ovum or bulls from our bred cows, so that they can achieve pure breed and increase milk production.
So I can see that all your dairy cows are all Holstein Friesians.
Yes.
Why did you decide to choose the Holstein Friesian?
We decided to do Holstein Friesian because in our country we are not in a place where we buy milk. We are bought milk. We, as the farmers, we don't sell our milk in terms of quality. We are not yet there. So we do sell in terms of quantity, sorry. And the Holstein Friesians, they produce a lot of milk, hence more money. That's why we chose to do Holstein Friesians, because they do a lot of milk, and we are selling milk for commercial. We are doing dairy farming for commercial.
You get that many upcoming dairy farmers, they tend to have this notion whereby they feel that the Holstein Friesians tend to consume a lot of feed and fodder. How do you manage that?
It is true. And as you can see, we have very huge cows, and the more it is huge, the more it is consuming more food. So what we do is we have come up with a feeding strategy and a feed plan that help us to curb that problem. So we ensure that we have enough fodder, we have enough land to produce fodder and pasture, and also whereby we are not buying, we produce our own, and it helps us to fill that big rumen of Friesian cows, hence we get more milk.
What is your routine management practices in this farm?
Okay, so our routine management starts early in the morning once we wake up. So we normally start our day at 3 a.m. where we do milk our cows. So as the cows are being milked, I go around to the dairy sheds or the paddocks to go and take a look on how the cows, their night was, how are the calves, how are the heifers, to point out whether you have a sick cow, a bulling heifer, a bulling cow. We then milk our cows until 4:30 a.m. They are fed at around 5, from 5 to 6. They are fed in their feeding troughs, and our milk is taken to the cooperatives where we sell. From there, we report back at 7, whereby we start cleaning the, and also in between the milking time, we feed our calves. And also we come back at 7, we do the cleaning of the sheds, cleaning of the calves' houses. If we have bulling heifers, we separate them with the rest of the herd waiting for service. If it is a day for weighing the calves' weight, we weigh our calves. And the routine repeats itself until it is evening. So basically the whole day. Now when it comes to 12, we start again milking and feeding. We take a break from 2 to 4. Then we come back for milking, and then the closing, we go back to the fields, make sure that all the cows, they have been fed. Every cow is comfortable, no sick cow, no bulling heifer that has been unattended. And that is it for the day.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now with the registered Holstein Friesians, could you probably tell us your highest producer and what is your average daily production?
So our highest producer as per today is doing 44 liters per day, and we have an average of 20 liters a day.
So maybe would you tell us maybe some of the major challenges that you face when managing or taking care of the cows in this farm?
Of course, we do have challenges like any other farmer. They are out. We have diseases, but they are not common. The only disease that has been a challenge to us, and we have been able to cover that challenge, was foot and mouth. And foot and mouth, we also get challenges on when it is rainy season, because as you can see, we do free range farming, we do semi-zero grazing, and when it is rainy season like now, we get a lot of diarrhea from the cows and foot rot. Those are the main challenges that we do face when we are taking care of our cows. But for the diarrheaing, it becomes because of shooting grass that we have in the pastures, but we curb that by giving it high dry matter, whereby we feed our cows with a lot of hay after they are from grazing pastures.
That is excellent.
Yes.
Now, there is this other common challenge many farms tend to face, whereby they have issues with infertility problems, and sometimes most of their heifers take a very long time before they come on heat. Also, when the cows already have given birth, they take a very long time before they can show signs of heat. How do you deal with that kind of scenario in your farm?
So I feel that is like two different questions, but I'm going to answer one by one. So number one, about our fertility issue, I think currently our scorecard gives us a credit on terms of fertility, because our conception rate is over 90%, and we achieve that through routine mineral supplementation. We make sure that our cows, they are fed with the right mineral supplementation. If it is for milk, we do mineral supplementation for milk, for heifers, for ndamas, and for dry cows. So we ensure that. Another thing, we ensure that we give them a balanced diet, whereby we don't exaggerate on one side and we fail on one side. That is also has helped us to curb the infertility problem. And also, after a cow that has given birth, we give it a very good care in terms of giving it high quality feed until it is over 90 days. And when we do that, we find it between the 90 days, that cow is able to come on heat and conceive. So we do it by proper mineral supplementation and balanced diet in their feeds. For heifers, currently we are serving our heifers at 16 months, between 16 and 18 months, and we achieve that once the calf is born, we make sure we give water ad libitum. We give 6 liters of milk for the first 5 days. Then from the second week, we reduce to 4 liters, and we introduce calf starter pellets. And also, by the time the calf is hitting 14th day, we start introducing hay to develop rumen, and that helps the growth rate to be around 2 times once the calf is hitting 3 months. So for us to achieve the 16 months conception rate on heifers, we make sure that we've fed that kandama, that calf, with the right proportion of milk and feeds. Once she hits 3 months, we introduce calf gropensos, which have very, very high protein. And also remember, in between we are still giving mineralic for ndama to maintain the coat, and also we do deworming. We don't wait until when the calf is maybe 1 year or 6 months to start deworming. Once we start taking our calves outside for grazing, we start deworming immediately, but with the right calibrations, and it will help us to achieve, by the end of 3 months, it will help us that cow has achieved 2 times or 3 times the birth weight, which has helped us to achieve the 16 months service rate for the heifers.
Now, there is this common challenge that many farmers face, whereby they are not quite sure on when to serve the cows that have just given birth, the duration that it takes. For this farm, it takes you like how many, or rather how long to be able to serve the cow that has just given birth?
For the latest cow that has ever happened, it is 5 months. And we find that those cows that produce a lot of milk, they are the ones who goes up to 5 months. We've never gotten one that has gone beyond 5 months. So mostly we serve them within, and some even comes to on heat 30 days after calving. But mostly we do like serving between 45 days and 60 days. Yes, which when we are late, we go up to 90 days.
Excellent. So
Yes.
we find that there are some farms where they take quite a long time, as late as say maybe now around 9 months, as late as about 1 year. So for those kind of farms that are still struggling with the issues of infertility, maybe what is your advice?
What I can advise them is once your cow is on dry, do a proper steaming. Because once you do a proper steaming for that cow, you are going to reduce a lot of challenges. You're going to reduce RAB, milk fever, ketosis, which is a condition that pulls back that cow in terms of performance. So make sure you do balanced diet on that dry cow. You do proper steaming. When I say proper steaming, make sure that you're doing your steaming with high quality silage if you have Napier, and high quality dairy meal. And also don't forget to add a dry mineralic. It will help. Once that cow calves down and you have done that, still continue with that special diet for that cow, for it not to go back, to be pulled back, but rather to produce more. And you can achieve that only when you do proper steaming. Yes, so my advice to such farms, make sure that you are doing your steaming properly with high quality feeds and mineralic for dry, because I've noted that most of the farmers, they don't know why we give mineral dry cow
Yes.
to a dry cow. But I can explain a bit to them. Once you use milk mineralic, and that is why we give it dry cow, for us to train her to generate from her bones, so that she cannot have cases for diseases such as milk fever, ketosis, and all the stuff. And also we avoid making a cow that is dry too fat, because you are going to get negative energy balance that is going to affect your conception rate later in the months after it has calmed down. Yeah.
Excellent. Now that you've mentioned some of the key metabolic diseases, do you have, or rather have you experienced some in this farm, and how do you go about them?
Yes. Yes, we have experienced that. And whatever that has happened to us is milk fever and RAB. But then it was back then. Even as we never knew that secret of Maclick dry. So whatever we used to do, we never used to give. We used to give slow amounts, kidogo measures. We used to give 100 grams per cow, and it was very low in terms of the body weight of the cow that we had. But after we knew that we are supposed to give it around 250, we are able to curb that problem. So currently, out of 10, maybe we only have 1 case. Yes, currently, okay. as per today's data. Okay. Yes.
Now, there is this other common problem that is referred to as repeat breeders. These are cows that you have to serve more than once to be able to get pregnant. Do you have such kind of cases in this farm, or rather, if you have, how then do you go about it?
Yes, I do have. And number one, what we normally do, we first of all want to know, why is this cow repeating? Number one, was it wrong timing? Number two, is it the conceptor, or the semen, or the inseminator, not conceptor, the inseminator? So before we take any action, we have to look for those 3 things. If we find it is the semen, we alert the producers or the suppliers of the semen and tell them maybe we have a problem with this semen. If it is the inseminator, we change the inseminator. If it is the timing, we train our workers on how to have good timing. If a cow has problem with the uterus, maybe the ovarian cyst or something like that, we opt, if it is not treatable, we opt to cull. But if we are experiencing, for example, I'll give an example like this cow we have here. We have 1 cow, it is a very poor conceptor, but a very high producer. So For such a cow, we
Yes.
do something called double insemination.
Okay.
The reason I don't want to do culling for her, it is because of the milk production that she does and the lineage of the family that she comes from. So for that instance, I do double insemination for her to reduce the chances of repetition. Yes.
Excellent.
Maybe I can explain the double insemination is whereby once you observe that is on heat, that cow is on heat, you serve, and then you wait for 12 hours and then you serve.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So maybe last but not least, maybe you could tell us, I can see you have very big cows
Yes.
and they are very good in body condition score.
Yes.
Maybe tell us where do you get your semen and how do you select your semen for insemination?
Okay, so CRI or at Atlantis Life Science are our suppliers for semen. We have very good daughters. We have one bull that I love so much called Tabasco. I have got 2 daughters from them. So all this work you've seen here, it's done by CRI, Atlantis Life Science. They are the suppliers of our semen. And what we normally do, I involve them in selection. They bring me the catalog and they come on the ground. They give me the bulls that they have, and then I give them the challenges that I have in my farm in terms of genetics, and they help me to select the bulls that I want and that can fit in my cows. Yes.
Maybe my last question would be, there's this common big problem whereby farmers really experience challenges being able to manage what I may call freshly calved cow. You know that profits from a farm will definitely come from sale of milk, and then last but not least is the sale of in-calf heifers. Now, maybe you could briefly explain to us how you're able to manage these freshly calved cows for profitability.
Okay, the freshly calved cows, they are the boosters of milk in the herd. So I myself, what we normally do, we have a special diet for them until they hit 3 months. So we feed them in a separate place away from the others. And whatever feeds that we are giving, or the rest that are in their late lactation, we add some more to the freshly calved cows.
Okay.
We also supplement with the calcium. From Atlantis Life Science, we use Supercal and Ketonex to avoid such cases of ketosis, because once it gets sick from any condition of the 2 mentioned, the production of milk goes low and you're not going to get that much milk that you want. So we give it a very special diet of consisting of corn silage, 8 kilos of dairy meal, supplementation with Ketonex and Supercal. Yes, that is what we do.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Now, there is this other common challenge whereby when calves are at their weaning stage, they tend to have probably some challenges in growth rate, and sometimes they are not able to grow up to the normal expectation growth per day. So then they are naturally late for the time that they should be given their first insemination. So maybe in a nutshell, how do you manage calves around the weaning period?
Okay, so once a calf is born in our farm, we give her colostrum as much as she can be able to drink. Even if she can be able to do 9 liters or 10 liters, we're going to feed. Then we feed that colostrum as 6 liters per day for the first 7 days,
Okay.
as much as we can. Then the second week, we reduce to 4. If we were doing 6, we reduce to 4. If we are doing 8, we reduce to 6. And then we introduce calf starter pellets to them, which has high, calf starter, it contains of alfalfa, so it has very high protein. So we feed it on the second week. Starting the 3rd week, we introduce hay, and I'll be specific, we use bomber rods because it has very high palatability and high crude protein. So we feed it with from the 3rd week, we feed with the calf starter pellets, milk, and hay.
Okay.
Separately.
Okay.
And water, don't forget, it is ad libitum. Every day we put fresh clean water in a clean bucket, different from the one that we use for milk. Then up to the time, now we continue feeding that, but of course once the calf hits around 2 months, we introduce silage, because we rarely do fresh cut. So we use silage a lot. We have both Napier and corn, but for the calves we give them silage, corn silage, but not as much as hay until she's 3 months old. Now, by the time she's hitting 2.5 months, we start reducing gradually the amount of milk that we feed her. So by the time she's hitting 3 months, we are done with the milk, and then we introduce calf propensos, which we feed according to body weight. I forgot to say that. We feed them according to body weight, and we increase as we see the feeding rate is high. But if we see them diarrheaing, we reduce. And also we feed calf propensos, hay and silage until it hits 7 months. Now when it hits 7 months, we have a special diet for heifers to increase the growth rate called heifer grow, and we feed it to our heifers until they are 7 months in calf. Now when they hit 7 months in calf, we introduce the dairy meal because we are steaming that cow because it is in calf, and all along from 2 months to 7 months we give it to Ndama Mineralic. From 7 months we start giving, from 2 months to 1 year we give it Ndama Mineralic. From 1 year and above we start introducing Joto Mineralic, because by the time our calves they are hitting 1 year, they are around 320 kilos. So we are only left working for 20 kilos so that we can serve, and we want them to reach 340 by the time they are hitting 14 months, because we want to serve them in between that period.
Okay.
So that is what we basically do. And we really have calf mortality in our farm. We don't have it at all. For the last 4 years, we have not had any calf mortality in our farm. And also we don't have cases of scores. And all this is achieved by hygiene. In regard, you're doing all this, you have to include hygiene. Yes.
Excellent.
To the cows.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now, you talked about your dairy cows registered by the Kenya Stadbrook.
Yes.
Holstein Friesians. If someone wanted to come and visit Nyara Tea Estate Dairy Farm, maybe could you probably give some directions?
Yes. Nyara Tea Estate is located in Limuru sub-county. We are around 10 minutes drive from Limuru town and 20 minutes drive from Kiambu town. We are along Kiambu Limuru Kiambu highway near Eden Tea Estates. That is where we are located.
Okay.
Yes.
So last but not least, any parting shot?
Yes. So as you have heard, this is a breeding farm with registered pedigree cows, and we are going to have a mega sale of in-calf heifers in August this year, 2024. So farmers, you're welcome. You can come and visit and see our cows, how we do. If you come today, you're still going to get a heifer, a very good pedigree heifer that you can go take care of her and produce milk for you. Yeah.
Just as you have heard from the manager in charge of Nyara Tea Estate Dairy Farm, managing a dairy unit is quite important, especially for profitability, putting or bearing in mind the fact that the profits in that dairy unit comes from sale of milk and sale of in-calf heifers. Now that starts with proper management of calves, whereby one of the common challenges that many dairy farmers get is how to be able to take care of the calf. Sometimes the key challenge being taking good care of the rumen. So talking about rumen health, I just wanted to introduce to you a very special product that is called Camboost. Camboost is basically a digestive enhancer that comes hand in hand as you wean your dairy calves. We introduce Camboost at the weaning stage, whereby one calf consumes 1 tablet in the morning and consumes 1 tablet in the evening for a period of 1 week, and this will be repeated for the next 4 months until when the calf is completely weaned off. Secondly, we talk about management of a transition cow. This is basically a freshly calved cow, whereby we are targeting to ensure that we get rid of all the common metabolic diseases in the dairy farm. First and foremost, we know that the biggest challenge will be milk fever, which commonly, most often but not, affects the higher producing cows in a dairy farm. We advocate that when the cow just calves down, you introduce supercal to the cow, whereby you administer at a dosage of 100 mils per day for the first 7 days when the cow just calves down. This is supposed to be repeated for the next 4 months until when the cow has adequate mobilization of calcium from its body reserves. Now, the other challenge is the common challenge of ketosis, which normally affects the high-producing cows, especially at the transition period. And here we find that cows, many a times, they tend not to consume dairy meal before they are given forage. That is the most common sign that you will be able to notice when the cow suffers from ketosis. In this regard, we advocate that when the cow just calves down, you administer a product by the name Ketonex, and Ketonex is anti-ketogenic agent that targets to ensure that the cows don't come up with ketosis. You administer Ketonex at a dosage of 120 mils every day for the first 7 days of the cow's lactation cycle. Now, last but not least, we are targeting to ensure that the cows don't come up with instances of negative energy balance. Remember that when the cow calves down, a lot of energy is used for milk production, and sometimes there is insufficient feed intake that can ensure that the cows, or can lead the cows to come up with a condition of negative energy balance. To be able to avoid this, we are introducing white energy, and white energy targets to give energy to the cows immediately they calve down. The target of white energy is to ensure that the cows have proper body condition score, targeting to ensure that there is maximum metabolism, and also in targeting that we have adequate manufacturing of milk by the cow. Secondly, we want to ensure that by the time this cow is showing signs of heat, we ensure that this cow is in the perfect body condition score, because remember that if you serve a cow that has poor body condition score, then there is instances whereby you risk losing the calf, or rather there will be instances where the cow might not show signs of heat in the first place. So with the many remarks, this is Dr. Nikki Omolo, the Sales and Marketing Manager, Atlantis Life Science. Until another day, thank you very much for watching.